I have botanicals, a still, a hankering for gin, and I'm gonna see how quickly I can turn botanicals and vodka into a bottle of gin. How's it going, chasers? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. I'm Jesse, this is Still It, and about half an hour ago, I was mixing up a batch of ranch dressing, because we can't buy it in New Zealand. Dumb. But as I was mixing, I thought, I bet this will taste really good if I added a little bit of gin into it. And to my shock and horror, I discovered that we were completely and utterly out of gin. So I'm trying to whip up a bottle of gin nice and quickly to test out my theory on gin ranch dressing, but I thought it would be interesting to record. First of all, I've never actually really timed myself to see how fast I can do this. I know it's quick, but I don't know exactly how quick. And two, I wanted to show you guys, the ones viewing, the ones that are considering making your own gin from scratch, just how easy it is and how quickly you can go from vodka and botanicals to sipping a gin and tonic or eating ranch gin dressing. I stole the clock off my daughter's wall so we can put it up here and keep track of time without me having to keep track of time, if you know what I mean. Time to get stuck in. What I have done is taken the liberty of writing out the recipe on a piece of paper down here, so I don't have to do this by memory or look things up. I have collected the stuff I need, but I haven't got it completely prepared. So that was a litre of vodka that just went into the pot. I'm going to turn that on, start it warming it up now, while we get our botanicals ready. So, for those of you following along at home, that's coriander, not what I want. Juniper, excellent. This is very, very similar. In fact, it is my base recipe, Jesse's base recipe. The video's not called that. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put a link down there. I'm losing time already by talking like I normally do. All right. I've altered it slightly to be a little bit more what I imagine will taste good with ranch dressing. So I'm starting out with 35 grams of juniper, which is slightly more than I normally use, and I'll talk about why in a second. I am going to put about a third of it in here and give it a smashing. First third into the pot. You'll notice I'm not measuring this exactly, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip. Another third into the smasher, simply because I can't smash that many at once. The last third is going in there. So, I don't know, maybe 10 grams in there, 25 grams being smashed up. And I don't mind admitting that I'm kind of really nervous of this. Normally when I record videos, I can take all the time I need. You know, if I need to say something again, I can stop and re-record. If I need to go find something, I just press pause and walk off. So the distilling, I'm totally comfortable with. The recording, totally comfortable with. Having to do both under a time crunch is, that's scary. Jesse from the future here. I'm standing here watching the still run, and I finally got some time to think, and I realized I probably should have told you that the vodka that went into this pot at this point in the video is the potato vodka that I made a little while ago. There'll be links down there for it if you want to check it out. But of course you can use any vodka you want. I tend to aim for about 50% ABV for gins, but if you want to, you can totally just use store-bought vodka or Everclear and proof it down. There's no hard and fast rule. Experiment, try whatever it is that you want to use, whatever's easiest for you. Just have some fun. All right, second third of the juniper smashed up and into the pot. Now I also have a thermometer here. I don't think it's going to be an issue yet, but let's double check. Just because I want to make sure that this doesn't get too hot before we get the lid on. Now, normally I would macerate in the pot for about an hour or so. I'm not going to do that today. We're on to coriander, by the way. What do we got? 8 grams of coriander. Because I'm trying to do this as quick as possible. I will also be recording B-roll with the phone because I've only got one camera, and moving the camera around to get different shots takes a lot of time. So sorry about that. All right, We overcooked that a little bit, but 8.5 grams I am totally fine with. Once again, a quick smashing. Man, I love the smell of fresh cracked coriander. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, in it goes. My battery just died. I had to run around and scrounge another one. There's another one charging. I'm going to have to keep hot swapping batteries, which is going to suck. Can you notice that I'm actually acting nervous? I haven't felt nervous in front of the camera in my shed in like a year. This is actually kind of cool. Anywho, next up, 8 grams of lemon peel. That is 7.5, 8.5. Good enough for me. In it goes. And we will double check the temperature again. We're at 44 degrees Celsius. Okay, getting pretty close to where I want to call it. I'm heating it up now just so we save time. You know, I'm doing busy work here and the still's heating up at the same time rather than doing all this busy work and then turning the still on. All right, where are we at now? 1 gram of Angelica root. That is too much. There we go. I try to be relatively specific with the Angelica root, even when I'm doing something like this, because I love the flavor in there. I think it's part of what makes gin gin. You have to have some form of root generally, but it can take over real quick. All right, now we start getting into the stuff that I'm adding to try and play nice with the ranch dressing. So we're gonna go with 5 grams of fennel. Cool. And of course, give it a little bit of a smashing. And into the still she goes. 55 degrees Celsius. I'm gonna just turn that off for a little bit right now. And move on to, where is it? Oh, right here. Some licorice root. So here's the thing about ranch dressing to me. It tastes good. I love it. Obviously, I'm making this stuff because I can't get it. But it's almost the like anticipation of the next bite. It's the moorishness of it that really gets me. And it does that through, you know, depending on how you make it, MSG, onion powder, the dill, garlic. It adds this, it's kind of like potato chips, right? Like you finish one and as soon as you finish one, the desire for the next one keeps growing and growing and growing. I don't think gin is going to add any more of the savory moorishness, but I think a really subtle moorishness from fennel and licorice, to me that's kind of the sweet version of those flavors. Do stuff while you're talking, Jesse. All right, that's one, not quite 1 gram. A little bit more. To me, fennel and licorice are very moorish in that same direction. And what I'm hoping to get is not to sweeten the ranch at all. I want to just add like an almost imperceptible amount of fennel and licorice in there with the gin to make you want to eat more of it. And the next thing I want to add is 2 cardamom pods. Just going to pop those in, just crack them open, and they can go in there as well. The other thing I'm hoping the gin is going to do is kind of level up the herbaceous side of things. Like dill is really delicate, in my opinion, even when it's quite strong. So I'm hoping the juniper, the cardamom, and the coriander kind of just amp up the overall flavor to increase that. As soon as you put it in your mouth, it's deliciousness. I might be completely full of shit. We'll find out. Anyway, let's get the lid on. Plug her in, turn it back on, and we'll move up there to the bench for distillation. I took a second while that was warming up to run out and get some water. That's 250 mils. Let's just turn this off for a sec. Hopefully I didn't let this go too far. Ooh, we're borderline. Get it in there quick. All right, 250 mils of water, just to proof this down under 40% ABV. Heat's back on, and we can chill until the run's ready. What do we got? We've got 12:20 pretty much, so it'll be interesting to see how much longer it takes to get drips off this. I need to say a big thank you to the Patreons. Thank you, Patreons, for being the people that support us day in, month out. We totally freaking appreciate it. And I've noticed that there is quite a few new Patreons at the moment. Thank you to everyone that signed up recently. We totally appreciate it. And just to say quickly that we do Q&As on the Patreon platform, so make sure for those new Patreons, take advantage of that. If you want to ask questions, there'll be a text post that goes up. Ask whatever questions you want, and then there'll be a video post that comes up normally about a week later that answers all those questions. So thank you to the new Patreons for signing up. A huge thank you to the long, ongoing, loyal Patreons, I guess you'd call it. We really do appreciate it, team. That took about 12 minutes to get up and running. Yum. We've taken a small amount off the top. Just there's always weird stuff at the very beginning of a distillation run when you're doing botanicals, so get rid of that. I've just realized that a large reason that took so long to heat up, after already being heated up, was that I put cold water into it. So I guess I could have put hot water in there to speed things up. I could also make a slightly smaller batch. I guess that would be quicker. But I would be interested to hear from you guys. Have you got any weird, wacky, or just straight up useful tips on how you can do a speed gin? Be interested to hear that. Anyway, so normally at this point in the run, I would stand here and kind of taste and see what's coming off the still at different times to be able to teach myself and to tell you what's going on. But I need to be able to proof this down and bottle it as soon as it comes off the still, because in my mind, we're not done until it's proofed, bottled, and I have some in my glass. That's the rest of the challenge today. So I need water, a pot to mix in, a funnel, a bottle, and some stuff to label that bottle. I will be back very shortly. All right, everything's ready for proofing. Let's have a little taste of this. We have got 300 mils in the jug so far. Okay, we're still going strong. Still plenty of flavor coming through on that. And check it out, guys. I even got some ice, a lemon wedge, and some tonic. I know it's crappy, cheap tonic. That's what we had, okay? I hadn't planned on doing this. So we should be able to have a vodka tonic in not a whole lot of time. And I don't know, we might even be able to squeeze it in under an hour looking at it. I knew this was going to be fast. I honestly, I thought this was going to take like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just kind of thinking of it ahead of time. So I don't know, we'll see, we'll see. Man, I really do think this is going to be delicious with the ranch. So we've collected exactly 400 mils at the moment. There's still some flavor, but it is definitely starting to drop off. I think I could squeeze, I don't know, I could probably squeeze another maybe 100 mils out of this if I really wanted the volume. I'm not stressed about volume. I'm more interested for this gin in having it as flavorful as possible to really impact the ranch. And I reckon if I call it now, we can get this all done, the whole thing, in less than an hour. So, are we going to do that? Yeah, you know what? Let's just do it. I can always make another bottle later when I'm not totally stressed about the time. So I'm just going to let this drip out. And then we need to take a reading of the ABV, figure out what ABV we have, a total volume, so we can proof it down with water. And today I'm going to aim for 45% rather than 40%, just once again to give a little bit more punch in terms of flavor to liquidiness. So we have the option to dial in flavor somewhat independently of consistency for the ranch. I hope that makes sense. All right, we'll call it. Bang. Oh, this must have been on a tilt. That's 400 mils exactly now, and it is, let's call it 82% ABV. So I've got my dilution calculator here. 82%, and we have 400 mils, and we're looking for 45% ABV. What's the easiest way to do this? You know what? We shall tip this into the large pot, so I can use this bad boy, which is a whole lot more accurate than the jug, to get our 330 mils. 10, 20, 30 mils. 330 mils can go into here. Now, obviously, guys, after proofing a spirit like this down, it is always going to be better after, you know, like definitely 24 hours. In my mind, it kind of gets noticeably better up to about a week, roughly. After that, it might get better, but, you know, in terms of actual perception, it's hard to tell the difference. So, this gin isn't all that it can be, but hell, the point of this video is not to make the most delicious gin we can. The point of this video is I want gin now. So, we're just going to bottle it up. Now, in my opinion, when you are bottling, if you don't let it sit for a while, there is a chance that, you know, the reason it doesn't taste so great is that things have broken out of solution and they haven't kind of melded back together yet. So if you make a giant pot and then start bottling from that pot, I haven't proven this, I haven't really checked this, but in my mind, just kind of common sense says that you might end up with different bottles tasting different ways. You know, if some of those chemicals are sitting at the top, some of them are at the bottom. That's not the case here because I'm going to put all of this into one bottle. So in my mind, I'm not really losing any quality by drinking some now. I hope that makes sense and I'm not just straight up rambling. But that's bottled. Glass, lemon, ice, gin. Oh, I need that much gin today. And because it's short notice and I didn't want to go to the store, some crappy tonic. Cheers, team. That's pretty good. And I would have to check the footage, but I think that is like just under an hour. I'm kind of impressed with that because in my mind, when I was mixing that ranch up, I had it in my mind that it would take about 2 hours. And I was like, yeah, I can fit that into the day. To be fair, adding in time to, you know, get the camera gear out, pick out the botanicals from storage, get my head around what I was going to do, find the recipe. That was about an extra 20 minutes after actually deciding to do it. So yeah, all in all, good times. Yum. Let's put some gin and some ranch. So I have my ranch here. Just so you know, this is 100% sour cream as the base. I know, heresy, didn't have buttermilk on hand. I love mayo, but I don't know, I just kind of prefer the taste of 100% sour cream. I've left this super thick. As soon as I decided I was going to do this, I left it at like dip consistency. But I have no idea how much gin I'm going to add, so I'll thin it afterwards, not now. I split the batch so I can taste them side by side and, you know, see if there's actually any difference. I have no idea how much gin to add. So you know what, let's go 1 tablespoon. And if it's grossly too much, which looking at that it might be, we might have to give up on the side by side and, you know, just doctor that one with less gin. All right, let's taste it with 1 tablespoon. So the plain one, ranch dressing. It's been sitting long enough, all the dehydrated stuff's reconstituted, quite flavorful. Yum. Let's go in for this one. Whoa. I'm going to end up just eating a whole tub of sour cream like this. I'll be honest, I'm not getting a whole lot of gin flavor in this. What is bonkers is that tastes way more like ranch, like way more intense than this. A long time ago, my wife bought me the Food Lab book. I'll put a link for it down below. Excellent book if you're into cooking. Let's just go with another whole freaking tablespoon. And I think he had a whole chapter on like the best chili ever and kind of just going way overboard with technique at every point in the process you can. And one of those small little things was to add some booze right near the end, with the idea being that yes, it's going to add a little bit of flavor. You're going to taste was it bourbon or tequila? I can't remember which it was he chose. But on top of just adding flavor, alcohol's super volatile. We know that, right? Like that's how we can distill. And I guess the idea is that because it's quite volatile, it is pulling all of the flavor compounds and wanting to kind of jump out of the product. So all of those flavors that we think are flavors but are actually aromas, and we taste them retronasally, you're going to get a whole lot more of it because the alcohol's like pulling those things out and turning them into vapor more. I wonder if that's what's happening here. Whoops. Oh no. I've ranched my beard. Hold on. All right, let's try that again without getting the beard in it this time. Okay. Can taste the juniper, can taste the coriander. I can't taste the cardamom, the licorice root, or the fennel. Although there is like another layer of moorishness to it. Wow, man, my mouth is salivating flat out. I can't even talk. I need another drink. Hold on. The gin has accomplished everything I wanted it to accomplish in this. The problem is it's done something I hadn't thought about. It almost comes across as bitter. And I think it's the juniper and the sour cream kind of opposing each other, like as, you know, slightly sour and creamy versus kind of bitey, and it wants to cut through the creamy fattiness of the sour cream. And it almost comes across as not astringent, not bitter, but kind of somewhere in between. There's a bite to it now. And that just kills that whole like lingering soft texture in your mouth, that ranch. That's the point in ranch, I think, for me. So it's not bad, but I think as it is, it's a bit of a failure. It hasn't made ranch better. It's made it yum, but it's turned it into something totally different, and it's lost a big part of why ranch is delicious. So from that point of view, it's a failure, but a failure is not a failure as long as you learn something from it. And what I've learned from this is, first of all, I can make a gin in less than an hour. How cool is that? And two, a small amount of alcohol in the ranch dials up the ranchiness like 3 or 4 fold. That was kind of crazy. So maybe gin isn't the right spirit for this. Maybe it's just, you know, like a tablespoon of vodka in here will do the trick. I don't know. I will experiment more about this later on. That's not really what this video is about. I thought I'd show you anyway. If you have other interesting culinary ways of using spirits, I'd be very interested to hear them, because I don't think I really do enough on this channel in terms of experimenting with and showing off ways to enjoy the spirits you make other than just drink them. So yeah, have at it down there in the comments. Anything's fair game, let us know. And I will catch you next time. Keep on chasing the craft, guys. See ya.